The escalation of power within the Boruto universe has shifted the course of the Naruto franchise in many interesting ways, such as the introduction of Shinjutsu, gods with the power of omnipotence, and even characters using the rotational energy of the planet to empower their jutsus. Yet at the same time, there still seems to be some confusion as to what abilities Naruto had in Boruto before he lost Kurama, and what still remains post the events of his fight versus Isshiki Otsutsuki. So today I want to make the definitive video that truly breaks down the abilities Naruto had at the start of Boruto, so we can all be on the same page as to what he's still capable of doing. Now the first thing I want to start with is 6 paths Sage Mode. This is going to be the most important part of the video since most of the abilities we're going to talk about are directly tied to this form. The key thing to note here is that the end goal of what I'm about to say is to prove that Naruto still had 6 paths Sage Mode in Boruto before losing Kurama, and to also explain why he no longer has it after Kurama died. To get to that end goal, we first need to understand what 6 paths Sage Mode is and where the power comes from. So let's start from the beginning. Now Naruto awakened 6 paths Sage Mode after he was given half of Hagoromo's chakra, while Sasuke awakened the Rinnegan because of his lineage. This was shown by Madara awakening his Rinnegan by combining the chakra of Ashura and Indra, which awakened the chakra of Hagoromo. So to put it simply, Sasuke awakened the Rinnegan due to his powers being tied directly to his Dojutsu lineage, while Naruto got an upgrade to his already existing Sage powers. Now 6 paths Sage Mode and normal Sage Mode are not the same things. As stated in the databook, 6 paths Sage Mode is a divine state gifted from the ancestor of ninja that uses the principle of all things in creation to command all things in nature. It also says that in order to acquire the same techniques abilities, severe training and refining of one's chakra is needed, or the effect would be too small to make a difference, no matter the suffering that goes against one's still conviction. It also says that one simply can't give up. Only those that carry these traits will be given the power from the Sage of 6 paths. Now let's break down a few things. So 6 paths Sage Mode is not the same as 6 paths Senjutsu, but at the same time 6 paths Senjutsu is what 6 paths Sage Mode utilizes for power, similar to how normal Sage Mode utilizes normal Senjutsu. Now let me explain why, and trust me, this supplements the point of him still having the form in Boruto before Kurama died. Now if you go back to Naruto's manga, upon seeing Naruto's new form, Madara indicated that Naruto had awakened 6 paths Senjutsu, not 6 paths Sage Mode. In fact, the term 6 paths Sage Mode was never used in Naruto's manga to describe his power. The first time that happened was in Boruto's manga, moments before Naruto used Baren Mode. His power was always described as 6 paths Senjutsu or 6 paths Sage power. Madara even compared his power to Naruto's by saying that he had both the powers of Naruto and Sasuke, which we know in Naruto's case is 6 paths Senjutsu, as shown by Madara having the 6 paths Senjutsu symbol on his back as well. This symbol seems to indicate the usage of 6 paths Senjutsu, and all users including Naruto, Madara, Obito, Hagoromo, and even Hamura had these symbols, which confirms that this symbol indicates the usage of that ability. Now aside from Hagoromo and Hamura seemingly being born with 6 paths Senjutsu, there are only 2 ways in which a ninja can attain this power. One is by being given 6 paths Senjutsu directly from Hagoromo, as it was in Naruto's case, or by becoming the 10 Tails Jinchuriki, as it was for Madara and Obito. So it was only after becoming the Jinchuriki of the 10 Tails that Madara and Obito gained the symbols representing 6 paths Senjutsu, and also started using the abilities provided by the form. It also makes sense why becoming the 10 Tails Jinchuriki would awaken 6 paths Senjutsu, since that's likely where Hagoromo got the power from initially, which would be while he was in Kaguya's womb when she consumed the chakra fruit from the original 10 Tails, which is the same 10 Tails Madara and Obito later became the Jinchuriki of. Now after unlocking this form, Madara and Obito displayed the abilities similar to Naruto. They gained unconscious mastery of the ability to float, along with mastery of their sensory abilities. Also, as stated in the databook itself, those who blossom Sage Jutsu of 6 paths, which is basically 6 paths Senjutsu, will achieve those black orbs encompassing power of all 5 natures, along with Yin and Yang, which is pretty much referring to the truth-seeking orbs. So what this means is that the abilities Naruto displayed in 6 paths Sage Mode are really just abilities of 6 paths Senjutsu. And if that's the case, what exactly is 6 paths Sage Mode? Well, 6 paths Sage Mode is a term used to describe a form only used by Naruto, as stated in the databooks. This is because Naruto is the only user of 6-path Senjutsu that also mastered Sage Mode. And no, Hagoromo did not train in Sage Mode as indicated in the anime filler episodes. And even if he did, he never achieved Sage Mode, which is why he's not listed as a user of 6-path Sage Mode in the databook. Now what Hagoromo's chakra did was allow Naruto to achieve a divine version of a Sage Mode he had already mastered, one that utilized 6-path Senjutsu, not just regular Senjutsu as utilized by regular Sage Mode. This is why Naruto, while in 6-path Sage Mode, still has the toad pupil but doesn't have the chakra rings around his eyes. This is because Naruto in this form mainly utilizes the 6-path Senjutsu chakra already inside him that he received from Hagoromo, which means that Naruto doesn't need to gather nature energy to enter this form, which is also why he's able to enter it instantly on command. Now you guys might be wondering, how can Madara and Obito use 6-path Senjutsu without ever mastering Sage Mode? Well, that's because you don't need to master Sage Mode in order to use Senjutsu. This was seen back in OG Naruto, by the way, with the introduction of the Cursed Seal of Heaven, which is a Juinjutsu performed by Orochimaru. This allowed Orochimaru to mix his Senjutsu chakra with Jugo's enzymes, which resulted in a more stable version of Orochimaru's original Senjutsu chakra. Now after this occurs, the chakra of the Cursed Seal is then added to the user's reserves, as their own chakra is then drained by the seal itself. This allowed the Curse Mark users to utilize Senjutsu without ever training to master Sage Mode. This is similar to becoming the 10-tails Jinchuriki as I mentioned before. So Madara and Obito used the 6-path Coffin Seal to absorb the 10-tails chakra and its power. This allowed them to utilize 6-path Senjutsu since it's the power of the 10-tails. Now another thing to point out is that this is 6-path Sage Mode with the influence of Kurama's chakra, thus the fox-slitted pupil. And this is 6-path Sage Mode plus Kurama's chakra cloak, thus Naruto being partially yellow, similar to KCM. People tend to forget that Naruto already mixed these chakras, thus displaying the fox-slitted pupil merged with Sage Mode back when he was talking to Nagato. He just didn't have the QB cloak. So this form right here is just Hagoromo's souped up version of that form utilizing 6-path Senjutsu rather than regular Senjutsu, which Kishimoto chose to display by Naruto's pupils now being yellow and not having the chakra rings around his eyes. So Naruto without the QB cloak is still utilizing 6-path Sage Mode, thus utilizing 6-path Senjutsu. He doesn't need a QB cloak to do so as shown in Naruto. This also means that Naruto in this form also has the 6-path Senjutsu symbol on his back when he's in 6-path Sage Mode. We just can't see it, and that's because Naruto's jacket is covering the seal, since the seal itself is on his skin, not his clothing. You can see it on the backs of Madara and Obito because their clothing is just an extension of their skin. That is why Madara regenerates his clothing as if it was an extension of himself. That's because it is. Similar to how Obito was basically half naked. Now Naruto's 6-path Senjutsu symbol only showed up on his back when he was in KCM, and that's because KCM is similar to Madara's skin when he's in the 10-tails Jinchuriki state. The chakra itself becomes an extension of Naruto and forms his clothing, which then allows the symbol to be displayed on his chakra. Also, Naruto being an actual perfect sage with mastery over Senjutsu gives him the ability to turn 6-path Sage Mode on and off, which allows him to stop utilizing 6-path Senjutsu. But Madara and Obito are unable to do this since they were never sages to begin with and doesn't have mastery over Senjutsu. That is why Naruto exceeds Madara even though they're using the same power per the databook. And yes, Madara did use Hashirama's Sage Mode in the war after absorbing his Senjutsu chakra, but Madara himself didn't master Sage Mode, as seen by the power being manifested on the fake Hashirama fused into his chest by Kabuto, not on Madara himself. Also, Madara seemingly couldn't create his own Senjutsu chakra and had to steal it from Hashirama. Now, since we understand the difference between 6-path Sage Mode and 6-path Senjutsu, let's get into why Naruto still had it in Boruto before losing Kurama. Now, as I said before, 6-path Sage Mode is a divine version of regular Sage Mode, which means Kurama had nothing to do with the form pre-Boruto. In essence, 6-path Sage Mode is just the regular Sage Mode pupil without the chakra rings around the eyes of Naruto. The fox-knitted pupil was just Kurama's chakra being combined with the form, similar to what happened during the Pain arc, just without the chakra rings as I explained earlier. But that said, 6-path Sage Mode in Boruto is not the same as 6-path Sage Mode in Naruto. This 6-path Sage Mode is somewhat nerfed due to one specific reason, which is the loss of Hagoromo's 6-path chakra. Now just to be clear, Naruto did compensate for this by getting stronger himself, along with receiving another half of Kurama. So he's not nerfed in the sense that adult Naruto is weaker than teen Naruto. It's more so that his 6 paths power itself has been depleted. This makes perfect sense, by the way, since Naruto awakened 6 paths Sage Mode because he was given 6 paths chakra from Hagoromo. However, Naruto lost most if not all of that chakra in the Valley of the End fighting Sasuke. They both collapsed due to chakra depletion, so that much is obvious. And Naruto is not Hagoromo, so Naruto can't just recreate Hagoromo's chakra, hence why Naruto lost that version of 6 paths Sage Mode. Now I say that version because as confirmed in the novels, 9 tails still resided within Naruto along with the vestiges of the other 8 Biju. So Naruto was, in a manner of speaking, the Jinchuriki of the 10 tails. In the last war, after becoming the 10 tails Jinchuriki, Obito gained a power rivaling that of the Sage of 6 Paths, the founder of ninjutsu, and in keeping the tail beast within his body, Naruto also housed a part of the abilities of the Sage of 6 Paths. So Kishimoto knew what he was doing. He knew that Naruto losing Hagoromo's chakra since he depleted all of it versus Sasuke would mean that he no longer has 6 paths Senjutsu. So he allowed Naruto to retain the power of all 9 Biju post Shippuden so that Naruto would awaken 6 paths Senjutsu the same way Madara and Obito did by becoming the 10 tails Jinchuriki. Well, at least a pseudo version of it. You see, unlike Madara and Obito who absorbed the full power of the 9 Biju minus half of Kurama, Naruto only has a tiny portion of their chakra, which is why it says that Naruto has the vestiges of the 8 Biju, not the Biju themselves. So in a sense, this version of 6 paths Senjutsu is inferior to the 6 paths Senjutsu awakened by Madara, since Madara had all the powers of the tail beast as opposed to Naruto having a tiny portion of their chakra. So him being a pseudo 10 tails Jinchuriki as stated in the novels means that he has a pseudo form of 6 paths Senjutsu, which also then translates to him having a pseudo form of 6 paths Sage Mode. This is why 6 paths Sage Mode in Boruto looks different from 6 paths Sage Mode in Shippuden. They are not the same. This was an intentional distinction by Kishimoto. The one in Shippuden has yellow pupils while the one in Boruto has orange pupils. The one in Shippuden has chakra horns while the one in Boruto doesn't. The one in Shippuden doesn't have the chakra covered skin while the one in Boruto does. The overall design of these two forms are different at a base level. We also have to point out that the one in Boruto doesn't have the 6 paths Senjutsu symbol on his back, which could be due to the pseudo nature of the power itself as opposed to being the actual 10 tails Jinchuriki with the full power of the Biju, or by getting blessed with more chakra from Ninja Jesus himself, which is referring to Hagoromo. Now of course you could just ignore all of this and say that it doesn't make sense and the form doesn't make sense and that it's just a design change for no explainable reason, which would be your prerogative, but in my experience, if there's a way to interpret something in a way where it makes sense, there's absolutely no reason to interpret it in a way where it doesn't. But that's just me, I suppose. Now since we've distinguished between 6 paths Sage Mode in Shippuden and the pseudo 10 tails version in Boruto, this would explain why Naruto no longer has 6 paths Sage Mode after losing Kurama, thus him using regular Sage Mode versus Code. That's because per the novels, Naruto housed a part of the Sage of 6 paths abilities, referred to 6 paths Senjutsu, by keeping the vestiges of the other tail beasts within his body along with Kurama, thus being a pseudo 10 tails Jinchuriki, which we know will awaken 6 paths Senjutsu per Madara and Obito. So now that Kurama is gone, meaning that his chakra burnt out completely, Naruto is no longer a pseudo 10 tails Jinchuriki. So no Kurama equals no 10 tails Jinchuriki, which equals no 6 paths Senjutsu, which also then equals no 6 paths Sage Mode. Now since you all have an understanding of what 6 paths Sage Mode is and which version of it Naruto had in Boruto pre-losing Kurama, let's get into the abilities Boruto's version of 6 paths Sage Mode never displayed, one being the ability to levitate. So contrary to popular belief, Naruto never levitated in Boruto, not even once. I challenge every viewer of this video to find a scene of Naruto levitating in Boruto as he did in Shippuden, and not a 2-second slow motion clip of him dashing through the sky, an actual clip of Naruto being stagnant in the air for at least 10 seconds. I can say that clip doesn't exist because Naruto doesn't have the ability in Boruto. People often use this train clip in Boruto's anime to say that Naruto flew, but that certainly is not the case. What Naruto did was something he did back when he first awakened KCM2 and deflected the Biju bombs. Kurama's chakra allows Naruto to propel himself through the sky imitating flight, but he isn't actually flying, since we know Naruto awakened that ability with 6 paths Sage Mode later on in the war. Furthermore, Naruto when flying using 6 paths Sage Mode in Shippuden doesn't have Kurama's chakra fully encompassing his body even when speed blitzing Kaguya, and that's because he doesn't need it, unlike this version of Naruto. There isn't a single scene where Naruto actually levitates in Boruto, but there are multiple instances where if he could've, he should've. Like for example, falling to the ground after swapping places with Sasuke to attack Jigen and then having to jump back up again. Or actually falling to the ground after an object he was standing on collapsed during the battle with Isshiki. Like saying Naruto is flying by zipping through the air using Kurama's chakra is like saying Sasuke is flying when he does the same thing by cloaking himself in the lightning chakra cloak, which we know isn't the case. People also like using a scene in the fight versus Jigen when Naruto spawned some clones in the sky while also ignoring the fact that they were all on the ground in the next scene, which means that Naruto simply summoned them in the sky, as he was shown to do since part 1. Then you have the infamous scene of him flying in his fight versus Toneri on the moon, which isn't him levitating, but more so using the moon's lack of gravity to his advantage, and then propelling himself through the sky using Kurama's chakra once again. Thus the huge rocks floating behind him also due to the lack of gravity. By the way, he isn't even using 6-path Sage mode in this fight, so that claim never made sense. Also, in this same movie, you had Naruto trying to get to Hinata while she was flying away with Toneri by throwing himself using clothes. If Naruto had the ability to fly, why wouldn't he have done so in that instance? It just doesn't make sense. Now the second ability is the Truth Seeker Orbs. Now it's explained in the databooks that those who blossom the Senjutsu of 6 paths, which is basically 6-path Senjutsu, will awaken these black orbs encompassing the power of all 5 natures, along with yin and yang. These orbs can be manipulated at will, and hidden within these orbs is the power to easily obliterate an entire forest by simply understanding the power of all things in creation. These black orbs can be freely altered in their shape and size. The natures inside them can also be combined to reveal a variety of effects, such as the ability to negate all jutsus, except Senjutsu and Kamui for some reason. Naruto and Boruto never had truth-seeking orbs, which could be because the last 3 were destroyed in the clash versus Sasuke and he can't recreate them, or it could just be the case that the pseudo version of 6-path Sage mode doesn't have the ability to manifest them. Either way, he doesn't have them. Now, the third ability is the power to perceive and control all things in nature. This is something all users of 6-path Senjutsu possess, since it's required in order for them to use their abilities, one such being the ability to use the truth-seeking orbs. Now, I personally believe that Naruto did not have this in Boruto since he couldn't understand the concept of Barren mode, even though it was explained to him by Kurama. I would like to think that someone with the ability to understand all things in nature would be able to grasp such a concept pretty quickly, so I'll just remove it from his arsenal for now. That would say that the concept of being able to perceive and control all things in nature is likely a tad bit hyperbolic, and more so refers to the more fundamental aspects of nature itself. Now the fourth ability is the 6 paths Yang Seal. And also, contrary to popular belief again, the 6 paths Yang Seal is not needed to have 6 paths Senjutsu. Armada and Obito would also have had a seal similar to this one. The Yang Seal is a separate power that was given to Naruto with the specific purpose of sealing Kaguya using 6 paths Chibaku Tensei. Now whether you believe this seal is what supplied Naruto with Hagoromo's chakra or not, the fact remains that what's needed for Naruto's power is 6 paths Senjutsu, not the seal itself, which is why Naruto was still able to use 6-path Sage mode versus Sasuke even after the seal returned to Hagoromo. Now another thing to note is that Naruto's ability to create an eye for Kakashi and restore life to Guy isn't an ability of 6 paths Senjutsu. That's an ability of the Yang Seal itself. That's because Yang Release has the power of light and physical energy, thus having the ability to grant life to forms that have none, which is the entire concept behind creation of all things when combined with Yin Release, which allowed for manifestation. That is why when Naruto restored life to Guy, the Yang Seal appeared on his chest. It's just the power of the Yang Seal itself. The seal then returned to Hagoromo when Naruto and Sasuke sealed Kaguya, so Naruto no longer has the ability to grant life or magically manifest missing organs. So that's done. Now the fifth ability is Boil Release, which has many different forms. You see, you don't need to be a 10-tails Jinchuriki or a Jinchuriki of the 5 tails to have this ability, but in Naruto's case, that's where the power originated from. Naruto in Shippuden was shown to be able to use the Kekkei Genkai of all the tail beasts he had inside him. He did this when he threw the 9 Rasen Shuriken at Kaguya, and then later applied Boil Release in a different way by using it to heat up his chakra to the point where he gained unparalleled strength as stated in the manga itself, which he then used to slap away Kaguya, who was descending at top speed. So it's kinda similar to the ability of Gates used by Guy and Lee. However, Naruto never used this ability in Boruto, even in dire situations when they needed the edge or just to hold on for a bit longer. We could simply say that Naruto no longer has the ability, but that wouldn't make sense since he still used the Four Tails lava style versus Delta. So the more likely answer is that they forgot about it or just didn't feel like putting it into the script. And before I get the comments saying that both release would have been absorbed or that it wouldn't have made any difference, let me just say that for one, I never said that Naruto would have been able to beat Jigen or Isshiki with this power. That just doesn't make any sense. But more so that he would have been able to do more damage or hold out just a bit longer, which is just a basic fact. And it makes sense given the fact that the entire point of the Isshiki fight was to hold him off as long as possible. Now, would it have changed the outcome? Absolutely not, but they would have lasted longer, which was the goal. As for the absorbing part, this really comes down to the application because you can use it for taijutsu or ninjutsu. Using it to drastically amp your speed and strength is the taijutsu application, which is something that happens internally by heating your chakra. That simply means that it's not something that is fired off where they can shrink it or absorb it, thus being effective against such enemies. Again, please don't get in the comments arguing about whether they would have lost or not, because that is not the point of this video. The point is that they could have simply used it to last a bit longer, which was the goal, similar to how they used the other abilities even though they knew they would have lost anyway. So it's likely just a case of the writer choosing not to use the ability, which also happens all the time. Now of course you have the other abilities like Frog Kumite, Frog Strike, and the other stage mode abilities, so that's just a given. With that said guys, that's it for the video. Let me know if I missed any other abilities. Of course, you have the other Kekkei abilities of the Tail Beast that I didn't mention, but you guys get the point. Maybe Naruto still has those abilities if he still has the chakra of the other Tail Beast, but it's also possible that he can't use the Kekkei of the Tail Beast even if he has their chakra because he no longer has 6-bad Sage mode. You have to remember that Naruto never gained the ability to use their Kekkei until he became a 6-bad Sage, and he had their chakra long before that. So we have no idea, we have to wait and see, but these are the abilities we know he no longer possesses in Boruto, so I think the video lived up to the promise made in the intro. Again, with that said guys, let me know your comments down below, drop a like if you like the video, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.